Hi folks, welcome back to the plot, welcome back to the channel. I'm just enjoying my garlic at the moment. This is looking really good. But I hope you're having a lovely relaxed Sunday. I'm having a beautiful day up the plot today. But I've been up here quite a bit recently doing a few odds and ends without the camera. So I thought today we would have a look at some of the projects that I've kind of got in mind. They're only small little jobs, but there's definitely some interesting stuff going on. So we'll have a look at those and maybe I might finish one of them as well. But I really hope you enjoy. What a lovely day to be up and filming. So it's a really interesting time of year. This time last year, I was in a mad rush. I had a really bad situation for my seedlings. I was just starting them about this time of year. I only had this north-facing window. It was not good. So I was in a mad rush to get the greenhouse sorted, and there was just so much going on. But this time, there's only so much that I can get sown. And the beds are okay. They're kind of covered over with cardboard. Sure, they don't look too nice, but you know, it's okay. So I've been kind of looking around, and the kind of thing that really spurred it was that we had our first skip the other day. For the first time in 18 months because of COVID, we had a skip, and it was absolute bedlam. I got here about 11 o'clock and it was already full. So I missed the boat on that one, unfortunately, but I did manage to get a few things in, and that kind of spurred me to just have a little look around, start taking things in and kind of looking at it with a bit of a fresh eye. And the first thing I did was just have a really good shed clear out. It's kind of difficult to show you in there and it's not that interesting, but I promise you it is looking a lot nicer in there. There was a load of old glass and just a load of rubbish that was kind of kicking about. Had a load down here in bin bags, mostly all left over from when we first took over the plot, to be honest. So I've just had a nice sort out. I've got some of this spare MDF that was lying around down here just to kind of keep the weeds down. And this is kind of just the dumping ground still, but it's looking a little nicer. And while I'm up here, you might remember down here in the darkness, this is where there used to be one of those black Dalek composters, we call them, and it was just full of rubbish that wasn't really breaking down. It was lots of dried grass and stuff that was kind of grown into the carpet that I was hoping would break down. Wasn't doing much. And I think what I'm going to do, as you can see I've kind of laid it out here, is put in a third compost bay. And you might be wondering, why do I even need a third compost bay? I've already got 1, 2, and these are fairly chunky, especially considering that I've only got half an allotment really. This is a half-size plot. So the main reason that I wanted this is sort of to give me a bit better organisation, but also I'm still hoping to get a manure delivery. You'll remember I promised quite a few episodes ago now that I had some manure on the way. Unfortunately, that didn't come through, but I'm still looking for some, and hopefully it will come forward in the future. And this bay will basically become the manure bed. This one will be for stuff that's breaking down, and then when it's finished, hopefully I can offload it into here. But it doesn't need to be as big as these. It's going to be just for the stuff that's finished, hopefully. And it'll be really nice to have that, because at this time of year, kind of looking around for compost that's been finished, and this is all kind of a nasty mixture and amalgamation of different qualities of stuff. So it's not great. And it should make this look a little bit tidier. It was kind of left behind before, and it kind of fits in quite nicely, although it's in the darkness there. It doesn't look too good, but it's better than the composter that was there before. However, by far the biggest change to the allotment recently is this section here, which I finally started clearing. You might remember this was just a dumping ground, this whole area. It was filled with kind of basically all the old rubbish that we had left over from when we first took that plot on, and it looked like an abomination. I've got over here a builder's bag just full with all the rubbish. This is all like plastic and old carpet mostly. So this needs to go to the tip. Ideally it would have gone in the skip. That was kind of the plan, and that's kind of what spurred me on to actually look at this. Once I started going into it, it wasn't as bad as I remembered. I thought it was mostly metal and kind of plastic, but there was loads of carpet, and underneath that there was a huge stack of basically old brambles and like woody stems, basically from pruning and that kind of thing. And that was starting to break down. I've put that in the third bay for now, and I know that's not ideal and it won't break down on its own, but hopefully as I add more and more greens to it, it will start to break down a little bit. Hopefully, we'll see. So the kind of plan was to basically create a new bed here. We'll get rid of this, because I thought we might as well use the space. And actually there was a really nice layer of broken down compost at the end, which I can kind of dig in. At first I was thinking maybe I should just go the whole length and have a whole new bed in here. But at the end, I've left the kind of refugia, which is just a posh word for pile of rubbish, with the mind that that's going to be a great place for my beetles and insects and that kind of thing. My reptiles as well, common lizards, slow worms that come along and eat pests. And next to that, I've left a space where I'm hoping I will eventually be able to put a pond. It's not going to be the biggest, it's not going to be the best, but every little helps when it comes to ponds. I might not be able to get like all the diversity of structure for the wide range of biodiversity that I would like to encourage. The dragonflies, invertebrates, the newts, as well as frogs and that kind of thing. They all need their own slight niches, but I'll try and do what I can there at some point. Malcolm Kingswell has just done a really nice pond as well, which has made me really jealous, and is kind of spurring me into action with that, hopefully in the future. You might also be able to see that there is still quite an assortment of kind of rubbish behind me here. We've got the Dalek composter that I removed. This is actually really handy. It's a fire pit, but I use this for just storing brambles and bindweed, basically weeds that I want kept away. They don't set seed or anything, so the rhizominous ones go really well in there. They just dry out and die. I've got a load of guttering still, and the idea was that I would use this in the traditional allotment way and sow my kind of peas or beans in here and then trench them into the soil. But you might have noticed I don't really like growing legumes. I don't know why. They're just not something I enjoy growing. So I don't, and I will probably, hopefully, be able to give these away to some neighbouring plot holders. But just looking around the plot, it's such a relief to get most of that rubbish away. I know that that builder's bag is still on the plot, but at least it's sorted. So, like I say, it's really nice this time of year to just step back and start thinking about the allotment for the first time in terms of aesthetics. I've been completely focused just on the practical aspect of things, just on making the beds, getting them suitable for growing and trying to grow whatever I could last year. And I just thought it would be a little bit interesting to touch on this. You can see here we've got the garlic bed, and this is the new bed. It's starting at the same place that the rest of the beds end. And here we've got the standard 1.2 meters width, which I've left for all the paths along. And it's very uniform up here. So it'll be nice over here just to create something a little bit different. Over here you can see we've got all this space, and quite simply I think I'm just going to bring this out and create a bit of an L shape. And at the moment I have no idea what I'm going to plant in here. I've really only started digging this over because it's there and I might as well use the space. So it's just nice, isn't it? And I think it'll be quite cool because the main path kind of comes down and it'll basically bring it to an end here. Just gives the plot a little bit more structure, makes it look a little bit nicer, I think. So I'm going to carry on digging this over. Okay, so unfortunately I've had what I'm going to call an audio glitch. So I'm going to be voicing over the next few parts, and just in case you were wondering why it looks like a bad film dub, that is why. You know, I must say, although this isn't exactly easy work, these beds are quite weedy. I'm just having flashbacks to when I had to dig the other beds, and this one is child's play in comparison. There's no carpet or plastic with years and years of growth of weeds and vegetation growing into it. So this is quite a nice job, really. There is, of course, not too many brambles up this end as well, but still Still one or two little devils. So that was the easy part of making a new bed. We've got our lines all straight and demarcated. Part of it I've already turned over, but now is the hard part. I've got to turn over the majority of this, and as I go, I've got to try and get rid of all of this massive grass clods, really break them up. It should be good. Oh, there's some dense stuff in here. Stuff has been left for a very long time. But it's good fun. I like this job. One thing I have noticed digging in here is that the soil is absolutely alive with activity. There's loads and loads of worms in here, which means there must be lots of organic matter. Some of them are really big. And this kind of confirms my suspicions about the bottom layer having broken down and composted, I think. We love to see this. This that I've just found is another key indicator that stuff was composting and breaking down, as there's a number of these little slow worm friends I keep finding. They're drawn to the warmth of decaying compost, and they're just starting to come out of hibernation now, so it's not too bad disturbing them, but luckily I've left a few habitat piles around where I can just relocate them to. So there we go, bed number 8 finished. It's a couple of days later, but this time I've actually remembered to plug the microphone in, so well done me, I'm very professional. But I think this is looking really good. The texture and stuff is okay. You can see the kind of compost has been mixed in. There's still quite a few stones, and I'll rake this over before I plant anything into it, give it another kind of once over. I really love what it's done shape-wise and structure-wise to the allotment. I think it's really cool. In terms of planting, I'm going to try and get away with just planting straight into here this year, partly because I'm lazy and partly because we had that nice kind of layer of compost that's hopefully been integrated throughout here now. So hopefully I can get away with it. I think maybe I'll plant something like squashes, maybe some cucumbers along here. That will give the bed time to rest because they're a bit of a later plant. And squashes are really good for breaking up the soil as well. So, and we do still have a lot of kind of hard clay in here. So hopefully that's the plan. Aside from that, it's seeds this time of year. I've got absolutely loads to be getting sowing today. There's some stuff already started in the greenhouse. I'm sure we'll get the chance to talk about that very soon. But aside from that, I've also just got to get that final compost bay done. And then I think in terms of big jobs, the allotment is pretty much done. You know, I've converted it from an absolute neglected wasteland of bramble and carpet and plastic into a worked plot, which is just incredible. I'm really happy. Anyway, all that's left for me to do today is get some purple spraying broccoli to take home for dinner. So there we are. What an amazing, incredible harvest of this stuff. This is the biggest harvest I've had yet. But it's probably the 3rd or the 4th of this size, or around this size anyway. And it's just amazing. It just keeps on cropping, and we're right in the middle of the hungry gap. So this is really nice to have on the plot. And this is like, I love it. I actually love this purple spring broccoli. I'm not a vegetable lover. I'm a vegetable tolerator. There's a lot of stuff that I love growing, but I'm not actually that keen on eating it all. But this stuff, yeah, absolutely. So anyway, I hope you've had a really nice, relaxed Sunday. If you're watching this on Sunday when it goes out, of course. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you again next time.